Okay guys, welcome back to a new video here, and I cannot believe I have to say this, but Donald Trump said today in an interview with Time Magazine, because he won Time Magazine Person of the Year for the second time, and in this interview, the interviewers asked very specific questions, specifically on the question of Iran, guys, and they asked him, is it possible that the United States enters a war with Iran? And Trump's answer, guys, get this. It isn't no, absolutely not. We don't want any sort of war. I'm the no-war president. His answer was, anything can happen. The situation is extremely volatile. What? I thought he was supposed to end all wars. Now they're asking him about war with Iran, and he's saying the situation is volatile. Anything can happen. This is making major headlines, guys. And the fact that you're saying this after campaigning for no wars is insane to me. And obviously this comes at a time where the Iranian regime is extremely weak, with the Assad regime collapsing, with Hezbollah severely weakened, with the Iranian military itself relatively weakened based on Israeli airstrikes across Tehran a month or two ago. Now, the fact that Trump is saying this is pretty wild for a number of reasons. Number one, he campaigned against specifically this kind of rhetoric and this kind of action. So I'm telling you right now, guys, if there's any sort of scenario where the United States enters into a military war with Iran, it is not going to be good for his popularity. But get this, it doesn't really matter, guys, because he's maxed out. He already ran for a second term. So I'm not sure he's going to care what the American public think. But it's hypocritical that you run on something that's totally against what you're saying is now a possibility. I didn't hear anything about this on the campaign trail, guys, that there might be a war with Iran. I don't remember hearing that at all. And I can't imagine many of his supporters are going to be thrilled with comments like this. And they did ask interesting questions about the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. What is your opinion on him? Do you trust him? And Trump, very interestingly, said, no, I don't trust anyone, which I think is a good answer. But I mean, clearly he does. I mean, if the U.S. would enter a war with Iran, with Israel, clearly you trust him. So it's pretty wild. And this also comes at a time where, according to Israeli radio, on a number of news stations, they're discussing the possibility, guys, of striking Iranian nuclear facilities. That's becoming a more and more realistic threat and a possibility. And it's not a surprise because of how weak the Iranian regime is. There's no question. Their proxies are destroyed all across the region, and the Israelis have the upper hand. We've been talking about how they have significant leverage in Syria, guys, over the past few months. But extremely interesting. And as far as Ukraine goes, which they also asked interesting questions on that front, it kind of a different tune in the sense where he said, yeah, no, we're not going to abandon Ukraine. And again, it's interesting how the interviewers frame the question. They ask, will you abandon Ukraine? Obviously framed from a Western perspective. Will you abandon Ukraine? He said, no, we can't abandon Ukraine. And his answer was basically, yeah, we're going to leverage our support into a deal. And he was talking about the amount of soldiers that were killed, etc., etc. So I think he's more, it seems to me at least, that he's far more willing to look for a settlement in Russia-Ukraine as opposed to Iran. It seems as though he's relatively hawkish on Iran. There's no question about that. There's no question. And I think especially with the amount of rhetoric continuing to amp up on the nuclear facilities, we got to hit the nuclear facilities. I don't think there's any question, guys. At some point, the Iranian nuclear facilities are going to be hit by Israel. There's no question. The only major thing is going to be, does the U.S. respond? And I wonder if the Israelis go after it before the U.S. inauguration of Trump. That is going to be key as well. But the fact that Trump is saying this after campaigning on the opposite, it's wild, and I can't imagine his supporters are going to like it. But maybe they will, who knows. But, I mean, this is not what he campaigned on. It's a huge, huge deal for the region. And this also comes, I mean, there's talks that maybe Trump would try and get a settlement with Iran. And to be fair to him, guys, in the past, Trump calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Man, and now they're relatively friendly with each other. So maybe this could be a business maneuver or a bargaining thing, but I don't think so. I don't think so because the Israelis' interests are not in that sense. And the Israelis have made their position clear what they want to do with Iran. They want to take the head of the snake, as they would call it. It's wild stuff, guys. It's wild stuff, and I cannot imagine even guys like Joe Rogan and a lot of these podcasters who one of the reasons why they supported him supposedly is because, okay, he's anti-war. What are they going to have to say about this? Anything? Because I can't. If Biden said something like this, it would be chaos. It would be a disaster. They would get shredded. But when a Republican or Trump says it, it's going to be okay. I sure hope not. But would it shock anyone if there's crickets? I mean, it wouldn't shock me at all. But it's just extremely concerning. But that's what we got for you guys today, guys. So Donald Trump is saying anything can happen. The situation is volatile. Seemed open to war with Iran. So that's his position, and very disturbing. Looking for the outlook in the future here, but we're hopefully everything de-escalates. But that's what I got for you guys today. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's super important for the algorithm. And we got some interesting things coming up the next few weeks. Special guests coming up, which are going to be super interesting. And I'll keep you guys totally in the loop on that. It's going to be really exciting, guys. The channel continues to grow, so thank you guys for the support. Just make sure to like and subscribe again. So we'll be back to you guys soon. Any major news on the South Korean front, guys. The South Korean president, a second impeachment attempt is coming up, which if anything happens there, we'll get that to you. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.